In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a red maple like this tree for Unreal Engine using a plugin in Blender. And if you check out the description down below, I will have a link where you can download this actual tree. So let's check it out. So it all starts with a good photograph, and I took this picture at my father-in-law's house, and his color of this tree was really awesome. So what I want to do is isolate this tree branch from the concrete and just do that in Photoshop, creating a mask, basically deleting out anything that's not red, and then I go back in and trace over the twigs and all that so I can create a clean PNG transparent file. Once you have this clear transparent PNG file, we'll import that into Blender. Add images plane is the plugin that comes with Blender. You can just turn that on, enable it, allow you to bring that image in as a plane. I'm going to take the knife tool and I'm just going to trace out the outline of this. You can be as precise as you want to be, just keeping note that we're going to eventually bring this into Unreal Engine, and you don't want too many facets, but you do also want to get rid of as much of that transparency as possible so you don't have a bunch of overdraw on your image, because this is going to get added to the tree quite a bit. So once we have that outline, I'm just going to move the start of the twig to the 0, origin point in Blender, and then I'm going to subdivide this a little bit after I apply all those transforms. I'm going to subdivide this again with the knife tool so that I can manipulate it a little bit more in 3D space and give a little bit of height differentiation to this plane here. So just grab some stuff, and I like to use the soft selection tool just to kind of blend out some of these vertical movements of the elements here. All right, so we got that. We're going to duplicate. Just hold Shift and D and then press Escape. It'll duplicate the surface right on the same plane. I called one A and one B. Now I want to create like a small version of this and just clip out this one section here, and this is going to be like the end of our branch. So at each end of the tree branch, you'll have this little piece here. So I'm going to delete out all these other edges, and we'll just be left with this one smaller plane. And I'm going to rotate this and make sure it's in line with the red axis. So I'm going to move that onto the red axis and then move it back so it starts right at the origin point. Rotate. Okay, so now we're flat on the x-axis. I'm going to do Object, Apply All Transforms, and set that origin point. So now we've got the A and the B. So we'll open up the Grove, which is a plugin you can find on the marketplace. And I'm just going to grow a tree out of here. I'm going to select a bark texture. This maple bark texture would be good. And I'll adjust some of the color stuff later in Unreal. But we'll add, up at the top, we're going to add the twigs. And the end will be that smaller one, the B, and the side will be A. So you can tell that these are just ginormous on this 1.7 meter tree. So I'm going to adjust the size of these planes. Just click on it, press S, and scale those down until they look appropriately sized given the tree. And then every time you scale or move something, just go ahead and do Object, Apply All Transforms. That'll lock in all that all those changes you made. Object, Apply All Transforms. Okay, so now we've got better looking scaled limbs and leaves to this actual model. So I think I want to grow this a little bit more and make it a little bit older maple tree. You can see when we zoom in, those leaves look pretty good already. They're going to look even better in Unreal later. So now we've got this. You want to just select it and do File, Export, FBX, and we'll choose a place for it. And we want to do Selected Objects Mesh, and then export that. So we'll go to Unreal, we'll do File, Import, and we will make sure we have combine meshes turned on and also create new materials and import that. All right, so we got our mesh here and our materials. You can see I dragged these in, but I had a naming problem going on, so I'm gonna rename these files. I'm gonna rename this underscore material, then I'm gonna rename the image so that I can bring in that material properly. All right, so we're gonna assign that texture, and then I'm gonna drop the opacity in, and I'm gonna change this material setup to be a masked material, two-sided foliage, and two-sided. And then I'm gonna drag the RGB into opacity mask. It's gonna give us a little bit of, transparent object because we've already created that mask in Photoshop earlier. I'm just gonna pull off the UV, create a parameter, and then break that because I'm gonna use this with my grass wind. So I'm gonna do a simple grass wind, add this in, and we'll drag this into the wrong node, which we end up having to change, and break that. And then we'll promote this to a parameter, and then we'll promote this one to a parameter. So we're going to be able to adjust these later in our material instance, and that's why we want to have these parameters set up. So now we want to add a little bit of like subsurface color to this, allow the light to scatter through the leaves. So we will add a 3 vector color. We'll change this to something a little bit red and a little brighter. And this will also be a parameter that we can change later. Let's say OK. And then we'll drag the RGB into the A of the multiply. And this will allow us to have a little bit of kind of pinkish red, white light come through these leaves when they're in front of the sun. And we want to promote the roughness to a parameter, so we can set that, and we'll do save, apply and save. Okay, so now we have a material. We'll do create material instance. Then we'll go to the tree, and I'm going to assign, instead of this material being assigned, I'm going to assign the material instance. This will allow us to tweak it a little bit easier when it's inside Unreal Engine. Now I'm going to grab some barks from the supplied bark that comes with the Grove plugin. I'm going to delete these because they're not set up right. I'm going to delete those, and I'm going to bring in the bark texture and the bark normal that I just brought in and plug those in. Kind of just wanted to see what this would do if I did the red channel into the ambient occlusion. I'm not sure if it did anything. Just wanted to try it out and see. Okay, so we're going to add a multiply node, and we're going to promote B to a parameter. And we're going to rename this normal amount. This will allow us to adjust the intensity of our normal. And then we're going to promote a roughness to a parameter and give it a default value. All right, apply and save. Now we'll close this, and we want to create a material instance of this as well. And I'm going to add that material instance to this tree model. And you can see that pops in there and it's looking good. So we'll save that. Now we will add this to Unreal. And there you go. You got a red maple tree created from a photograph of some leaves. Simple, like very simple cell phone photo. And it turned out pretty good. I kind of like the way the light comes through those leaves. Looks pretty awesome. I'm gonna turn, you can see right now there's no movement. So I'm gonna turn these parameters on that we created. And once I set a little bit of wind movement to this, you'll see it start to sway as if there is some wind. And that's a little strong. There we go. So just a little bit of movement makes it even more real, because you never really see trees standing still. Well, you see the trunk standing still, but you don't really see the leaves standing still. There's always a little bit of movement. And there's a little bit of too much reflectivity going on with these leaves. You can see they're a little bit fake looking, so I'm going to tone that down, that reflection down, just that roughness. Tone up the roughness, I guess. And then looks pretty good. You can also, if you don't like the trunk color, you can adjust that a little bit. I'm going to add a parameter to the main material, which will allow me to tweak the color just a little bit of this trunk. It seems just a little too bright. So I'm going to add a three vector and a multiply. I'm going to go into the B with the multiply and the color into the A, and then put this in the base color. And for the main material, I'm just going to change that to a white color. And we'll save this. And then we'll save this. And if we go to material instance, you see we've got this option for a color. Now we can take this and actually adjust it on the fly, and you'll see it, there we go, actually adjust the color of the model without having to save and do all that kind of stuff. That's the beauty of material instances, is that real-time feedback that you get. So that's the tree. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you want to download this tree, go to the link in the description below, and I'll have a way for you to be able to download this file and bring it into your version of Unreal. So thanks for watching.